Does it say recording? Perfect. Good evening. My name is Mary Maslowski. I'm the chairperson of the Harwich Historic District and Historical Commission. We are opening our meeting for Wednesday, March 15th, 2023 at 6 p.m. here in Town Hall in the small hearing room. I'd like to first state that if anybody in the audience chooses to audio or video record this meeting, that you notify the chair at this time. Hearing none, we will start with a roll call.
Bob Dillon.
Brendan Lowney.
Lynn Zalisak.
Julie Eldridge.
All right, our first matter on the agenda tonight is a public hearing which was continued from February 15th, 2023. It's HH 2023-06, Darren Tangerman. Owner has applied for a certificate of appropriateness to alter a building or structure in the Harwich Center Historic District. Alterations to include trim, siding, doors, and paint color. Subject property is 705 Main Street, map 40, parcel Y5. Please come forward.
Good evening, Madam Chair and Commission. You have this drawing in front of you.
Could you just state your name for the
My name's
record for us?
Darren Tangerman. I'm
Thank you.
the owner of 705 Main Street. So in front of you have the drawings. Last time we were here, there was a change. There was comments that were being placed in the commercial building permit that demonstrated that the door that was identified was 1.68 feet from the property line. Didn't work, so we had to redo the drawings, do the plans. And my architect has moved, as you can see, where the primary egress for the upstairs two-bedroom apartment now comes out near the jog on the right-hand side of the building. Mm-hmm. And so that's the new design that works. And it would, you do have in your packet, you still should have pictures of where that jog is. Mm-hmm. Essentially, that jog is there's space of about 64 inches between that window and the corner of that jog. So that's where that door would be placed. There's a picture of the 6-panel ornamental door that's also across the way and at Seals that's being used there. Same type of egress door for the exact same reason. They have an apartment upstairs and they use that for their primary egress from their apartment. As you may know, this building's been approved for commercial mixed use. The other two buildings also have had that historically next door, Ruggies and Seal. So we're just trying to create that opportunity for a two-bedroom mixed use apartment on the second floor, and that's what the door is intended to serve. The color of the door would be the same as the historic colors that have been on the building when we purchased it, and that's in the packet as well. No change to that. The building has been painted the same color as it was last time as well, so we wouldn't change any. The gray that was the historic gray that was there, and then the trim would be the historic white that was there as well. So no changes to color. Trying to stay within the same design that the three buildings currently, kind of complement each other with. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you have subject to that.
Great, thank you. Questions from the board or comments from the board? Bob, would you like to start?
Yeah, no, I don't have any questions. Everything looks fine to me.
Okay.
Same here.
Same here.
Same.
We are in a public hearing. Any questions or comments from the public? Okay, hearing none. The chair would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So move.
Second.
Motion's been made by Lynn, seconded by Bob, to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any in opposition? Hearing none, motion carries. So who would like to take a stab at the decision? Bob or Brendan?
Motion to approve HH 2023-06, filing date January 12, 2023. Hearing March 15, 2023. Property is 705 Main Street, parcel 40, Y5. Owner is Darren Tangerman.
Correct. Thank you.
BCRD recording information BK 34900, page 30. Excuse me. Certificate of appropriateness. Proposed to alter building or structure in Harwich Center Historic District. Alterations include trim, siding, doors, and paint colors. Findings for approval is certificate of appropriateness.
Mm-hmm.
And determination will be approved with no conditions.
So motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any in opposition? Hearing none, motion carries.
Thank you.
Done.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Okay.
Would you say motion to approve, or do you say motion to vote on?
I would say,
I thought about it.
I'd probably say motion to grant a certificate.
Motion to grant.
Yeah. Typically.
Yeah, that makes sense, motion to grant.
All right, next item on our agenda, we'll open the public hearing for HH 2023-07. It's Royal Apartments LLC owner through their agent James Bustamante with Longfellow Design Builds has applied for a certificate of non-applicability to replace or repair a building or structure to include trim, siding, doors, gutters, paint color, porch deck, roof, and windows in the Harwich Center Historic District. The subject property is 328 Bank Street, map 41, parcel N4. Thank you. If you could introduce yourself for the record, please.
Of course. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the commission. For the record, my name is James Bustamante with Longfellow Design Build, and I'm here on behalf of my client, Royal Apartments LLC. 328 Bank Street was originally built in 1825, known as the Ellis Tavern, and it was then called the New Winslow Hotel, if I'm getting that correctly. And then recently, it was used as an assisted living home called the Royal at Harwich Village up until about 2018. My clients purchased it around the end of 2018, early 2019. And they started thinking of how they could repurpose the building, but yet keep the integrity of the historic value of the property. We are proposing 26 apartments. It's a major interior renovation, but to the exterior of the building, there was some maintenance that needed to be updated as well. I applied for a certificate of non-applicability because in section CB, it states that ordinary maintenance, repairs, or replacement of architectural features that are damaged or worn, provided the work does not involve a change of materials, color, or outward appearances, is allowed. As far as the architectural trim and siding, we're proposing to replace the existing rotted trim and replace in-kind with pine trim boards. Replace and patch as needed cedar clapboard siding in the front of the building and cedar shingle siding on the sides in the rear. For the exterior doors, we're hoping to replace in kind the front and main doors that are both wood and fiberglass. For the gutters, replace existing aluminum gutters as needed in kind again. For the paint color, we're going to color match the existing yellow paint and put a fresh coat of paint on the front of both the main building and the accessory building. It's important to note that the accessory structure was built in 1985. The porch and decking, we are proposing to replace the decking and railings again in kind with PT lumber. For the roof was actually in a few places in really good shape, so we actually even questioned if we were going to touch the roof at all, but we decided if we're doing kind of the makeover that we would be replacing the whole roof with the asphalt roof shingles that are there currently. For windows, we would like to replace the windows in the main building with Anderson 400 series, no size changes, no grill pattern changes, and no type changes. Anything that's a casement will be a casement, anything that's a double hung will remain a double hung. Anything that's a fixed window will remain a fixed window. Be happy to answer any questions at this time. I do want to note the letter that we received For the fence that is currently up around the structure, we are acknowledging that the letter was sent back in 2021, and the fence was not removed. At that property, there have been break-ins. I don't want to say, no damage done to the property, but the fence is there for security right now. We opted to not remove it and come here begging for forgiveness instead of asking ahead of time. So we will be answering any questions, or I will be answering any questions that you might have at this time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Who'd like to start? Bob?
Okay. I noticed that particularly the Bank Street side, shutters are missing, that there were shutters on that, and you can see from the outline, and we request to have the shutters replaced,
That's no problem at all.
put on. I think we'll get into, I'm gonna let Brendan talk about windows, because I did notice there's some, it looks like some original windows are there, wood windows, 2/2s.
Okay.
Then there's some modern ones that, are you gonna replace the modern ones that are in they put them in the main part of the building, it looks like
Yeah,
they're
the-
modern.
The plan is to replace all windows in the main structure.
In the main structure, not the addition, the new addition,
In the new addition as well, sir.
okay. I'm gonna let Brendan ask.
Yeah, I guess to
about
that point, I mean, some of the windows are 6/6, or in some cases 12/12, 2/2s. If you do the Anderson 400 series, are you gonna pick one style, or would you replace like for like in every location? I know a casement's a casement, but
Right, so the certificate of non-applicability says that no type changes are allowed, and the plan was to do casement for casement and double hung for double hung, fixed for fixed. If the request from the board would be to have the grille patterns be more alike, then we could absolutely make the grille patterns a little more uniform, rather than the 12/12, 6/6, 2/2
Everything mixed.
mismatch, correct.
Okay.
So we'd be happy to do that, it's just, what we're applying for is like for like.
okay.
Brendan, now that 400 series all have the exterior mullions?
Yeah, it'd be applied grills.
Yes.
Applied grills
Correct.
on the exterior?
That's correct.
And they make them in 3 different ways. They make them with in between the glass.
Right.
You know, you could remove or removable on the inside, but we would be looking for applied.
No problem.
Apply that outside, yeah.
Correct. Good.
The other issue that actually is about parking, even though you didn't specify it in your thing here. I believe there may be some additional parking you're putting in. I haven't seen a plan for that. And the reason why I bring it up is because the parking, as far as how it looks, is part of our domain in the district commission. So I think I'd be looking for a plan. I think you talk about a sidewalk maybe, or replacing a sidewalk.
There would be patching some masonry, brick pathways, correct?
Okay,
But
so-
again, this would be like more for freshening up the pathways and everything. The house numbering, I specifically didn't put on here, as well as, landscaping features such as the driveway.
Right.
That will be on another hearing.
Okay. How come it's not combined into this hearing?
Well, because there's still things that are being worked out during the construction.
Okay, but you can't start construction until we
So
sign off on this.
we're only asking today for the trim and the windows and the siding and the roof.
Okay. So you'll have to come back, is
That's
that correct,
correct.
Mary? They'd have to come back for the parking?
So I believe they would have to come back for the parking. So there is, as you can see in our packet, there was a letter from the town planner to the building inspector, because there's an outstanding planning board permit that hadn't been acted on, and there were some conditions that weren't yet met. So I also believe those conditions would have to be met before a building permit could be issued. So
Madam Chair, all of those conditions have been met at this
they
time.
haven't, okay, so they haven't, we haven't been notified of that, as of yet, so. Included, we'll just take a moment for the board, so included in that packet, you can see in 2020, the planning board had granted a special permit that was applied for in 2020, was granted in February of 2021. Just past the 2-year point on that, so there was a condition on erosion control, there was a condition on the fence, there was condition on payment in lieu of a sidewalk, and there was approvals from, required approvals from the historic district. So my belief is that related to any changes to the parking that had not previously been approved by us as far as the historic district is concerned, it is my belief that they would have to come back.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's almost very similar to the 7-Eleven building, where we had parking, lighting, condensers, fences. So there's gonna be more to it, to the plan itself. But if you're here today just to get the approval for what's on the
That's correct.
application. Unless we put a condition on it, you come back to you, I don't think you do that or not.
So we can condition. You know, I would say that's just a note of caution for you, is that
Yeah.
typically we see items at historic before they go to planning. And I'm not sure that happened in this instance. I think the applicants may have gone to planning first.
I believe that's correct.
So anything that changes on a site plan for planning in the historic district really has to then come and get approved by us as well. So it's part of the reason that we always caution people, regardless of which direction you're going, you know, to keep in mind that that's necessary. So your parking and lighting, even if it has been approved at planning, would still need to be approved here under a certificate of appropriateness, which could have all been done at once.
That's correct. And that's, you mentioned lighting, that's exactly why lighting wasn't checked off on here as well, is because we're still making sure that that's,
So either way, you'd have to come back, whether we
That's
did
correct.
continuance here tonight, came back, or we did, you have to come back.
So coming back is going to have to be under a certificate of appropriateness as opposed to a certificate of non-applicability. Typically, we would suggest that you do both at once, and then if we make a decision that a certificate of appropriateness is necessary, then you've covered your advertising and your applications all at the same time. So as far as the replacement of like for like, you know, it is possible for us to put conditions on that. And, you know, it sounds like you're suggesting that you and Bob are suggesting that we put a condition that the windows, the replaced windows be more uniform.
I don't know.
Okay,
I
Well,
haven't
when-
really
So
thought
I
about
guess
that.
one question I have, I just remember this from back when those meetings were going on with planning. I actually sat in on one of them, but, for example, the service entry in the front of the building.
yep,
I know it's gonna be like for like, but if the fire department comes and says you have to do something different with that area, has that been, like, stuff like that, has that been sorted out? Then you just have to come back here. It seems to be great to have everything you're asking for today and a full site plan to review. And then we can, you know, move from there, I would think. It almost seems like a continuance to me, but unless you guys
Yeah.
think differently. As much as I know you want to get the approval for A, B, and C, but I think there's a lot more to it.
well, so I think the other reason also was, because what's approvable here tonight is approvable under CB, which is the certificate of non-applicability, where clearly the changes that need to be made for lighting, driveway, and everything needs to be on a certificate of appropriateness. So that's why,
Fair enough.
So where would the shutters be then?
the shutters,
You could-
I would suggest that if the issue is that there were shutters there at one point,
There were.
and they're missing now, and you're requesting that they be placed. If applicant's going to do that, we can just put that as a condition on the
Absolutely.
certificate of non-applicability,
And
Yes.
as a condition.
because we do need to have the paint colors, of course, for that. So, but otherwise, it's like for like, that yellow, whatever
That's correct, sir.
it is, and the columns, but so this, we need to, we could put the condition on, but I need to see the colors of the shutters before I really approve it. That's the problem.
And there definitely were shutters on it. I remember back in the 60s and 70s.
Even after that. I mean,
Yeah,
it
even
was
after that.
recently, because you can see after the paint that they did, somehow they got removed without permission.
Could I ask, I'm sorry, could I ask one more question?
Yes, go ahead.
Were all of the shutters removed from the front? I'm sorry if I
Yeah,
haven't gone
there's
over this.
none- there's none there.
On the front facade and side
I
facade?
believe the side, but definitely the Bank Street side. And I don't know about the new addition, whether it had,
Okay, so
That's 320.
it,
But the original building did have shutters.
oh, there's no
All the
question.
way around.
right.
Oh,
And
it did all the way around?
and it is my understanding that those were black.
It was white back in the 60s and 70s also. The building was white and the shutters were black.
Let's look.
Okay.
And the clam bar cooks lived there, and I used to pick them up every day.
So I'd be happy to also say that we could condition those black shutters would be fine as well.
Those white?
Those are white. So in 2009, this is Google Maps. In
Right.
2014, there were shutters and they are white.
I don't know if you can see whether they went
The
around.
white would go with the yellow.
It doesn't look like they went all the way on on the parallel side, that's what I can't tell,
Yeah, that's
because of the trees.
It's a lot of vegetation.
So if you want to come up, we can show you the picture that Brenda has from the front. I was just going to look at the property card.
Oh, I'm around the corner already, sorry.
Okay. What year is this?
This would be 2014 going back. You can see the shutters.
Oh,
So
so
the morning-
most recently white.
Yeah,
Okay.
mostly, yeah. But, you know, you could, there's
Now
nothing,
here's another
there's
one.
nothing on the gable sides.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really just what faces Bank Street.
Here's another one.
And that's dark shutters. So I think it'd be a preference. So it goes back to picking your shutter color, picking your grill pattern. Just a couple of things where it'd be nice to
Yeah.
know all that. If you want to see the paint color, the exact color,
Yeah.
you know, I never gonna do a color match. But
Just let me look up I want to see how old the property record card is with a photo.
This was 2004 that this picture was taken.
And they were what color there?
they were like a
Like a-
hunter green.
Yeah.
Yeah, hunt green, yeah.
Yeah.
That-
I remember the
That makes
green.
sense, that's what I
I
remember.
remember.
Just want to see what their property card. Yeah, the property card still shows white, and it looks
Yeah.
like they were the same as that. So, I guess for the board and for the applicant, you know, we're still in a public hearing, so we'll open it up to the public as well.
Yeah.
But I'd just say as far as the shutters and the color, if you want to continue to go forward on the certificate of non-applicability, I do think, I'm getting the sense that the board would like to see what you picked for windows and pick for a color on the shutters, and I know your clients aren't here, so obviously they're going to have probably some input with you.
So my clients are in
Okay.
attendance with us tonight, and we talked about the option of that, and we said black would be for the shutters.
Okay. And what about grill patterns?
The grill patterns weren't brought up, again, because that was something that we were gonna
Sure.
exchange like for like. I do understand Mr. Lowney's concern with, you know, the modern 2/2 look. Again, I'm not sure if something like windows or something that you can condition for grill patterns. I'm not sure if something that if the board allows, but that being said, I can come back with a full grill pattern schedule for all of the windows to be more,
Yeah, the 2/2s though are in one of the older
Yeah,
sections.
that's a class, yeah, that would work.
that would be more in the older section,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So is that,
I mean, there's 12/12 now.
that's what, it- yeah,
The
there's-
additions on the side have, I mean, it's all over the place. We got a whole bunch. I mean, if you just brought like the Anderson window quote, you know, to show the grill patterns, I think that would be fine. You know, not saying you have to draw plans and do a true schedule, but that'd be up to you.
I'm gonna ask the stupid question, is it something that can be solved with a 5-minute conversation with his client?
Yes, absolutely.
Under a recess? I mean, if you wanna do that, we can recess for 5 minutes and let you folks talk, and then if you can resolve it, we can condition it, and that portion would at least be done,
Yeah.
or we can continue,
I would
so.
appreciate a 5 minute.
And then you can always come back, if you went to planning, you can always come back, because as you know, Anderson windows aren't coming anytime soon. so
Right, right, yeah,
They're
they're gonna
like
take
backed up like
they're gonna take
9,
public
yeah,
first.
18 weeks.
12
Yeah.
to 14.
So, yeah,
and-
so before we do the quick recess, let's see if there's anybody from the public that has any questions or comments.
I did have a.
Yes, could you state your name for the record?
Yes, Diane Rickus, and we are butters on the Bank Street side.
Mhm.
This is my husband, John. There are, shutters on that side you can't see from the street. They're a mixed bag. There's not really any consistency, but they are white.
Okay,
So I don't think you can see it from the map, but they are.
thank you. Anybody else from the public with questions or comments? Any other questions?
Yeah, and another question.
Of course.
So, I think it was Brendan brought up the issue of the front entrance. There's, looks like it may have been at one time a handicapped entrance. And I think that on one of the plans, it showed drawings for driveway. So I think that the question about the parking and the driveway and the doors is very valid as to how that's all going to look once
Yeah.
it's put together. And I don't know if it makes a difference as the type of doors that you put on and where you renovate or place them as opposed to where the handicap accessibility will be.
So from our perspective, the only time that we can really have say in aesthetics is in the historic district. So planning board, on the planning board application wouldn't have had the ability to do that. That's what we can, we have some authority over here. So that's part of the reason why we're saying, you know, any site plan changes with the parking and the driveway, those would have to come back. And at that point, yes, if there needed to be a handicapped, or an accessible access or a different style door, this board would be able to comment on it. So, so that's what we're referring to before when we say coming back under a certificate of appropriateness for the whole package. You know,
Right.
they could have done this as a whole package under one certificate of appropriateness and done everything all at once. I suspect they want to get started with some of the outside work before they get into the inside work. So I'm guessing that's why they came forward with the part that they thought they could do fairly quickly.
Correct, Madam Chair.
So, you know, that will all be noticed with another application, another set of advertisements in another meeting. And, you know, we certainly would be taking a look at that, because when we're doing a certificate of appropriateness, particularly in the historic district, we're looking at colors and styles and materials. And, you know, these two gentlemen have both talked about the Anderson 400 series. It's a series that this board suggests quite frequently through Mr. Lowney for the applied grills in the historic district. So those are all things that will come up at another meeting before the everything is finalized in the building itself.
And I also question the fence. They asked you to remove it or make it shorter, or?
So the security fence that was put
Oh,
up,
is that what you're talking about? Not the
Yeah.
white fence out
No,
front?
the security
Oh,
fence,
The security
okay,
the
fence.
okay,
orange
yeah.
security fence, which was an issue for this board because it was in the historic district, but I think it was also a bigger issue for the building department.
That's
really,
correct.
For being compliant with code, so.
That's correct.
Hope they're more responsive next time, but I don't know that there's an action item for us on that today. So if there's anybody else in the room that wants a comment or a question, then I would request that somebody propose a 5-minute recess, and if everyone's in agreement, all in favor, aye. Motion.
Second.
Brendan seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion.
Aye.
We are adjourned for 5 minutes.
Thank you.
So no, you can leave it on. They usually will just turn the volume down when we go into a recess, but we will.
There's no volume on that, Mary.
There's probably no way to turn the volume down, so you can just leave it. We obviously won't talk about anything for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's 6:31, so I would say 6:36 is our time.
Yeah. We can talk about the weather.
We can talk about the weather
It's spring.
and the
gonna
fact that
come.
it was snowing when I got out of the planning board last night. After no rain in the afternoon,
It was completely dry. The sun came out up in Hyannis.
yeah, came out
Came out
in
here too.
Yarmouth too.
Came out here too.
Blue skies shining behind in the window coming in the back of my office, and it was supposed to be raining all day.
We haven't got real
And then snow last
since 2015 now, right? Like real.
Yeah, don't talk about that. That was my first winter.
Well, I was building my house during that winter.
Yeah.
Those
And
three,
it was-
those three.
Remember it snowed
blizzards.
every Wednesday.
Yeah.
Boom,
No, I
boom.
do remember, but it was that long ago.
Yeah, I was building the house and I was like, whoa,
It was
it
my
was the worst.
first full-time winter,
Yeah, I'm
and
talking like
all my friends at home were in the 495 belt, so they were getting
Oh,
blasted and
Oh, yeah.
saying to me, "Oh, you don't have anything down there." I'm like,
I still
I
think
have
you're
36 inches of snow in my driveway. I'm shoveling my doors out every 2 hours. What do you mean I don't have snow?
oh, kids would like it.
I had to call somebody with a bobcat to
Ooh.
dig out my
Oh,
driveway.
Yeah.
Down here?
Yes,
Oh, yeah. We had that winter.
I forget who it was, but yeah, he came with a bobcat on a flatbed to dig out the end of my driveway because the mounds were so high. And I have a picture of a red fox jumping over it.
Hard to get to. The climate's definitely changed. It's obvious to me because I had such a gap in between. But even when I first moved south, I'd come up every Christmas and I got snowed in twice and nothing here.
We had some good snowstorms couple of years before that because
we did.
I remember not being able to, hadn't been down in probably 3-4 weeks, and it called a friend who was living here year round and asked him if he could swing by and just make sure everything was okay, and it was over his waist.
Oh,
He decided he was going to get in the house. I was like, oh, you really didn't have to do that.
Was that like 2007?
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
that was,
Just before my mom passed away, a couple of years before she passed away, we were,
3 days straight for the state fair.
yeah, it was crazy.
Lynn, when we were young, we had all kinds of winter.
Yeah, there
Not
was
necessarily a
snow.
lot of snow.
I remember
We
boarding
had-
my house out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Blizzard of
but,
78,
oh my God, yeah. But
12
Yeah.
inches the first day, rain the second day, another 10 inches the third day.
But it melted, it seemed to melt here faster than it melted off Cape.
it could be.
Yeah.
Just, I think because of the salt air. I hate to say, maybe that's
Well, we
stupid,
have
but
the Gulf
but-
Stream warm belts coming.
yes.
But the biggest change
You
in
get-
that is
Boston wouldn't
is
get
the
it.
water level.
because it was easier to get into this house after the blizzard of 78 than my house in Marlboro.
Like Herring River and.
Really?
Oh, yeah, that is really obvious to me.
Wow.
And then when we have an astronomical, way high.
Oh, Old Mill Point, same thing. Like when you look at the jetty at Old Mill Point, like,
But it's,
crazy.
yeah, it's really obvious around Herring River, the difference.
But 2-3 years ago when it got like really cold for that 10-day period.
Yeah.
oh,
Like Earl Beach, the waves were frozen.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
I've never seen that before.
Oh,
Like,
we
and
We
Yeah.
he
had a
had-
fake
This-
iceberg.
We had an
We were-
iceberg
slush-
off Bank Street.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right, yes, you know,
That was
yeah.
at least, I
And
don't
the
know, what was
slush
that,
waves?
25 feet high at least?
Yeah, that was 72, I
Oh,
think.
yeah.
72.
Was that when it was?
Wait, you had,
70 or
you had an
72.
iceberg that came,
Well,
From the waves crashing on
Yeah.
topping, and it was so
And
cold
it
out
freeze.
that it
Every time
froze.
the wave came in,
So
it was
you'd get a lap, and then it would build up.
And it just
if I
kept
can find
building
it.
up.
oh, that'd be cool to see.
the town reports had it on the front cover.
It was so big.
I do remember I do remember in '78 still having snow down here, but it was always less than Metro West. Like, we always got
Oh, yeah.
less than 495, but still snow. This has been
But we've
weird.
gone
2
through
years without
periods,
snow.
though. It seems like it happens. I remember like a 5-year period in the early 90s. Because when I was at school, we never had a snow day.
Yeah,
Oh, we had a
And that was from
superintendent.
90 to 95. So,
yeah,
but then 95 we got hit like 3
yeah,
times.
yeah.
Where cars were buried, you couldn't even see the cars.
I just remember that first winter, those
You
3
always
blizzards in a
skated
row.
on the bogs.
Yeah, always.
Back in our day, you know.
Oh, really?
Haddock Pond.
Yeah, and
Grassy pond.
Not
and
anymore.
nothing's frozen enough at this
Nothing
point,
is
you
at
know?
all, no.
Like, at least a bog, you know, you're not gonna
Yeah,
go too deep in.
but it's tough on the cranberry growers because
Oh,
they
yeah.
relied on that to freeze over. Then
Absolutely.
they could spread the sand without
Absolutely.
damaging anything.
Oh, right.
They
Absolutely.
can't do that.
We used to have water filtration beds at home on MDC land, and they always used to sandy bottoms, and they used to flood those for ice skating. And then when they stopped doing that, one of the connecting ponds would be what we'd skate on, but it was running water. So boys would go out their hockey skates and get the frozen waves down for us, and then we'd start skating. But it had to be cold, or else you'd go through.
But he never calls.
My dad fell through that pond once when he was a little kid, and it was always wouldn't. Oh,
That's very.
it was, and he wouldn't let me go on unless he had tested it himself.
I mean, I was up in New Hampshire a couple weekends ago, and guys just on snowmobiles. These machines are
Heavy.
4 times the size when I was a kid,
Yeah,
and they're
Oh, yeah.
zipping around. I'm like, I don't know if I do that. But
I know. It makes you.
it's a snowboard.
It's got to be really cold for a really long period of
Well, I think
time.
they drill the.
Yeah.
You know, it's a
Yeah,
big
but-
lake.
12
But
inches.
still, yeah, I can't imagine the ice fishing.
But even like when
My
Pisaki
dad
did
used to-
freeze this year.
Really?
They had that big ice hockey tournament that it was done on the smaller lake that we were on. So it was kind of cool
Here
to
it
see
is.
that. But
She's up in Boston. She works.
1977.
Where
Cover
is
of the
it?
town report.
that's it right there.
Yeah.
What?
Remember that?
Okay. Wow. Yeah, that was big, huh?
Huge. It was huge.
Crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy.
Enjoyed my own Christmas.
Pass that back, please. Before I drop it. Break
Big
it.
phone. I don't know if I could use a big phone. I'm catching myself at night like doing videos.
Oh, it's awful. I
And
do.
then it drops and I hit my lip.
I did that the
Hit
other
my
night.
glasses.
I did that the
That
other
thing would
night.
knock you out.
All right. We will call to order the meeting. Thank you. And
I appreciate the breather. Okay, so after talking to my client, the application that we're applying for here today is to replace like for like, both on grill patterns and type. If the board seems necessary that they want to condition, we would like to throw it out there that if you wanted 6/6 on the front facade of the building, with 2/2 on the addition side of the building, we'd be happy to do that as a condition. But what we're applying for here today would be to exchange everything like for grill patterns.
understood.
As far as the shutters are concerned, we would like to ask that if they could be black. If it's in the board's opinion that with neighborhood appeal and neighborhood input, that you'd like them to be white, again, that is something that the board can obviously make a determination on, but we're preferring black shutters.
Okay. So thoughts, gentlemen, ladies?
If it's like for like, you want to keep the grill patterns the way they are, I don't have an issue with that.
I don't either.
Neither do I. No.
You know, I think it'd be fine.
I'm fine with the group patterns.
Yeah.
Okay.
They are.
And what about cheddar color?
I'm fine with black. I think
Yeah.
that hunter green was so dark, it almost
Look black.
looked
It almost was black.
Yeah.
Do you have a
Yeah,
problem with black with yellow?
No,
Makes them stand out.
Okay.
So the only condition on the windows would be applied grills.
That's no problem. I already got it written down. Yep.
So SDL or FDL, whatever, they changed how they're calling them out, but I think they're FDLs now.
All right. Before we close the public hearing, any other questions or comments from the board? And any other questions or comments from the audience? Yes, ma'am.
I'd just like a little clarity.
Could you state your name for the record?
Marla Menzies, I'm 321 Bank Street. I just would like a clarification on the grills. I'm not as familiar with the terms. When you say applied grills, are these the grills that are actually on the outside of the window?
Correct, and they're
Okay.
applied,
Good.
you cannot remove them.
Cannot remove
Good,
them.
They're
okay.
part of the window sash.
Yeah.
As opposed to the ones that are between the two
Between
panes.
the glass.
And it's a simulated divided light, so it looks like it's two panes even though it's one pane with the divider. They
That's
put a
what I
little,
did on my
they put a little
house.
stick in between, a little filler piece, well, in between the glass, so.
Does that answer
And
your
the-
question?
and
Anything
the
else?
other- The other half of that question is, so the windows that are going to be replaced, are you replacing what's existing, or are they all going to, whatever it was, 6/6?
No, what's existing in kind. So if the windows right now are 2/2, it'll
Yeah.
be a 2/2 window. If it's a 6/6, 6 light over 6 light, we'll replace it with a 6 light over 6 light sash.
And what's in the
Window,
front?
excuse me, I said sash.
What faces the street? What faces Bank?
Currently, I don't have the elevation on the pic. Could I see the picture of the front?
Is that all the front?
This is bank,
2/2.
the bank room.
Yeah, so it'll be 2/2.
Some of these pictures, let's see.
Can I just point one thing out while we're talking? So when you're coming down Bank, this is a portion that had the shutters. You get 2/2s, then you get a 6/6. You jump to the main building, you have 12/12. Is that what you'd like to do? Replace them like for like?
that's what the application is.
At
but-
this time, that's what the application is for.
All right.
I mean, do you want to offer a suggestion? Or-
I mean, without seeing the full layout plans, and I mean, you know, I'm not here to design it, but,
No.
you know, just aesthetics. If you want to do it that way, then you can do it that way. But they're replacing, I guess it's fine.
Anything else?
You sure?
Yeah, because he's going to come back for other things.
I mean, unless
so-
we have a condition where one wall, it has to all be the same. In this one example that faces Bank Street, this portion.
I don't know what was,
You're talking one facade or you're talking one,
For that example, see the bottom left? 6/6, and the uppers are the original 2/2s probably.
yeah, those, the 2/2 is, I think, what was there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Trying
I'm
to
sure that's
remember.
what it was.
I
mean,
can't
I-
tell, is that the front? Is that the front on Bank Street?
That's the addition portion to the main house on Bank.
Right, yeah, there's the additional.
That way?
That is weird. But
So that's-
those, I know the ones upstairs are original.
Yeah, it'd be the
The
2/2s.
2/2s. I mean, if we want to go 2/2 on that, that's fine to continue it on that side.
I mean, is our concern just the Bank Street facade? And when you
Yeah,
make
I
that
don't-
turn, it's a free-for-all.
Yeah.
Maybe we just
Well,
condition that.
No,
Well,
see, we don't have.
I mean, there's
pictures
1,000
on the
windows
side.
in this place. I mean, I understand the expense and the grill pattern as well, so.
again, we're in the historic district,
Yeah, they can make the decision. right?
so, you know, it is. And
And I just
understand
want
it's
to, I just want to note that our clients are definitely open to that input
Yeah,
as well.
we're
So-
trying to make, I'm not.
Yeah,
we're trying to make it less work than having
Just
to-
the main building.
Yeah,
That
yeah, those
faces
are
Bank Street, right?
two up top, aren't they?
I mean, are they making a 12 over 12 in an
mean,
innocent 400 series? You're gonna.
I'd have to check if they would be that or the A series, I don't know.
Yeah, so then you gotta step up to A series to do
Right.
it.
Right.
So if you went 2 over 2 on Bank Street, made the turn of the main house, and then the rest is, you know, were like for like, I think that would probably be the best way to go, just for
Yeah.
aesthetics.
If the
Yeah.
board conditions that, then we'd be, if the board is recommending that, then yes, we're okay with that.
Yeah, on the main building and that to the
And the
left.
turn, so
So
the
they're
right
all
gable
two-
side of the main building,
Yeah,
the front of the main building,
And
and
that
the
one
extension
side.
portion on, if you're
Right.
looking to the left.
and doing all 2 over 2s, that would be fine with me.
Yeah, and then the back, you know, all the casement windows and the
Whatever, yeah,
other ones you just replace like for like.
that's modern.
You know, and I have to say that I agree with them as well, just because you're talking that main building is the original historic building.
Right.
It is in the
And the
historic district, and, you know, I think we do recognize that there are a lot of additions that have been made to that building, and there are certainly a lot of windows.
Right.
But hopefully, the 2 over 2s, maybe slightly less costly than a 6 over 6 or.
It would be in a full divided, like,
Yeah,
So,
and easier to clean too.
For whoever's washing the windows.
That is very
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be
true,
the window washer at that building, period. Too many windows for me. But,
I'm sold on a 2 over 2 with a black shutter if the board recommends that.
okay.
Yeah.
it seems,
I'm
Not
good
just for
with it.
Bank Street.
No,
Bank
Bank
Street
Street and a
and
meter
making
around
the-
just on the original building.
Yep.
That'd be great,
okay.
And
Then,
the left side of the extension, you could do what you like.
right.
It'd be just the 2 fronts of Bank and the 2 gable ends of the main building. Because there's 1 window up top. Left side.
okay then, are we ready to close the public hearing? Any additional comments, questions from the board? All right, then the chair would entertain a motion to close the public hearing. So it's been moved by Julie, seconded by Bob. All in favor?
Aye.
Any in opposition? Hearing none. Motion carries. And then, Brendan, do you want to take a stab at the certificate of non-applicability with conditions?
Yes. So motion to grant case number HH 2023-7, filing date February 8th, 2023, hearing March 15th, 2023. Property is 328 Bank Street, map 41, parcel N4, owner Royal Apartments LLC. BCRD, recording information BK 32263, PG page 179, certificate of non-applicability. And it is to replace and repair to include trim, siding, doors, gutters, paint color, porch, deck, roof, and windows. Certificate of, I'm sorry, this would be certificate of non-applicability.
Non-applicability, yes.
Non-applicability, and
So in this
Does-
instance, your
yeah,
options are, right, does not involve any exterior architectural features in the historic district open to public view. That is not true.
yeah,
Or it involves ordinary maintenance, repair, or replacement of any exterior architectural feature within the historic district which does not involve a change in design, material, color, or outward appearance thereof, or is necessary to meet public safety requirements certified by a duly authorized public officer.
involves ordinary maintenance,
Yes.
repair and replacements. And termination will be approved with the conditions of shutters to be black.
And shutters on the original and,
Right, shutters to be on the main building, front and right, left gables.
Oh, on
And
main
the left-
building.
and
On main building, sorry.
On main building,
And
right and left gables,
Building right
minus the bay windows,
Yeah.
gables.
and the left main extension,
Minus
facade or front.
the bay. Minus the bay windows, and you said something about a facade, I'm sorry.
And the left extension front.
And then your,
Conditions
Condition on the
on
windows?
windows will be 2/2 for front, main building front, left and right gable,
main building front,
and
Left.
left front extension.
left and right gables.
And left front extension.
Left front extension. That makes sense?
Yes.
That's what we've agreed? Okay, we've had a motion made by Brendan, is there a second?
Second. Julie?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any in opposition? Hearing none, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
evening.
you. Thank you very much. Just, this is an aside, I'm gonna have to rewrite that because my handwriting was terrible.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that was, this is more me
I
than
was trying to figure out
anything
which
else.
one to select. Like, applicability. For some reason, I grew up it was applicable. That's how we pronounce it. So, applicable.
Applicable.
Applicable
Yes,
is
it's
harder to
both.
say. Right, but
It's
applicable,
both.
It's just when I see that word, I'm like, it's like a phrase.
Rachel, I'm gonna need another one to fill out just because I have scribbles in this one.
Okay,
So I can do one of two things. I can either,
I think there's another one in the file.
is there?
Mhm.
I can do that now before we leave.
I already hacked mine up, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's.
7:05.
It's underneath the yellow folder.
Yep. Yep, okay. Give me half a minute to do that.
See if I can find some old pictures, just to satisfy my old
What happened
curiosity.
to my,
It is a cool building.
Oh, it is.
It's a very nice building.
what happened to my agenda? Does somebody want to tell me what the next item on our agenda is, and we can,
Approve the minutes, meeting minutes from
Minutes.
February
there
15th.
it is.
Yeah.
Okay,
I move that we approve the meetings from February 15th,
so Bob's
2013.
made a motion, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any in opposition? Hearing none, motion carries. So, Lynn, would you like to tell people a little bit about the Punkhorn Road culvert issue while I write this?
Okay, the Historic Society received an email asking if the Punkhorn culvert was under the purview of the Historic Society or the Historic Commission. Because, and I don't have it in front of me, give me a few
I
minutes.
just emailed you all, if you have access to your email, I did email it to you.
But basically, there it is. Okay, here it is. You want me to read it?
Sure.
Dear Ms. Zahn, that's Marie Zahn, our
Right.
director. I am writing to you after reading an article in the Cape Cod Chronicle titled Regional Partnership Seeks to Restore Herring River Cold Brook, dated March 1st, 2023. Here is a link to the article in case you have not read it. The part that concerns me is the town is apparently considering replacing the culvert under Punkhorn Road between Hinckley's Pond and Seymour Pond. That culvert is a historical structure, in my opinion, and that is why I am bringing it to your attention. To my knowledge, it was built by Alvin Cahoon back around 1850 when he had hand dug the Cahoon Canal, which links the two ponds. He did this to help irrigate his cranberry bogs, which were the first in Harwich. The bridge has stood the test of time and, as I understand, never been altered since he built it. It slightly narrows the path of the canal but does not impede the passage of River Herring. Punkhorn Road is an old sand road with limited traffic, and I cannot see any need to replace it with a modern culvert. I would hope that the Harwich Historical Society would have a plan to preserve it. I hope the historical structure built in the beginning of the cranberry industry in Harwich would not be disposed of. Gerald Beetham, Harwich. And then it was forwarded to me by Marie, asking, is this something the Historical Commission should be involved in? And I forwarded it to Mary.
So I just asked that it be agended so that we could discuss it and see what you folks thought and see if it was something that we should look into further.
I would certainly, I want to go take a look at it, because it sounds like it's an actual bridge that he built, as opposed to just a culvert.
Right.
So I'd want to take a look to see.
Yeah.
Does everybody kind of agree with that? Then let's continue to our next meeting and we can all kind of investigate.
Oh, that's fine.
Yes.
It's okay. It's a line forwarding that email to me.
Absolutely.
enough in.
Okay. I will forward the whole feed to you.
The next item is
Old business.
this, well, there's the signage
Oh.
for Exchange Place.
Yes.
Go ahead and put your email in. Oh, did you forward it?
Oh,
Done. Monomoy National Wildlife Refuge?
So I guess the sign had been destroyed, had been removed. I'm not sure if it's
It
not,
just disintegrated.
when you look at it, that's what it looks like, right?
I think it blew over.
So, thoughts from you folks on, comments on Elaine's note and whether we like it as it is or,
I think it should be bigger.
What does that say at the bottom, to Harwich, England? Or Headed?
Sister town to
Sister
Harwich,
town,
England.
yes.
Yeah. I'm not sure of the claim of home of the cranberry, because I understand it. The cranberry was, it was really developed in Dennis, but Harwich had the first commercial cranberry bog. I mean, I guess you could say home of the cranberry.
It's such a cool building.
It was.
I've heard the Dennis.
Who?
I've heard the Dennis story before, but what was the original cranberry? Was it a Hall cranberry or a Howe cranberry?
Oh,
How was the name of the breed?
Gotcha.
I believe that's such an amazing picture.
What's that?
Like
the
ex-
exchange
exchange
Oh,
building.
my God. Incredible building.
And the fact that there was an excavator on the upper floor when the building was falling apart and was,
No.
it was supposedly falling apart,
Yeah, no.
but there was an excavator on the second floor
No.
and it
that
didn't
was-
fall through?
It was tough building.
It was, yeah.
Steel beam
Wow.
back then.
it wasn't going anywhere.
No,
They didn't value history.
no. Or architecture. That's a pretty
true.
unique building.
Yeah, right.
So-
Tallest building
anyways.
on the Cape.
Yep.
So is there anything about the sign that, you know, if this, again, I think it technically needs a sign permit, which obviously isn't quite what this is at this point, but thoughts on the design? Would this board be okay with that sign going back and that look,
I'm fine with it.
and the materials?
Cranberry is a pretty,
We are given credit for starting the cranberry industry.
right,
So-
yeah.
We do have a cranberry festival.
Yes, we do.
Now, didn't they want to move it to the other corner, though?
I think so, yes. I don't have that, I don't have it out in front of me. Let's see. So, I think that was, Elaine had a thought on placement, so, this was the best quote that they got on replacing it, for this sign with these materials that were included. She was looking for some comments on it, and she attached the old sign, and her comment on placement, she said the sign faces the corner, the church faces the corner of the church rec building across the street as you come up from Sisson. Elaine was suggesting it should face the other way onto PLA, maybe Exchange Place?
Pleasant Lake Ave.
Pleasant Lake Ave, okay,
yeah.
thank you. And we'll try to find who can make the determination of placement. But she wanted input. We don't control that,
That's the park, that's
Right, that's the
Park and
parks.
Rec, or
so I
whatever,
think all we can do
recreation.
is suggest where we might like it better, if we liked it someplace better. Do we think facing Pleasant Lake Ave is a better,
On that corner. I mean, it's certainly better for the sign, because welcome to Historic Harwich. Makes sense on that
Because we
corner,
don't
but
have any
that's a whole
signs right now.
it's a whole landscaping project, and I think that definitely isn't under our purview at this
Well, when
point.
you look at this, it gets kind of lost.
Yeah.
it does.
Honestly, either the landscape needs to be
Well, it's overgrown.
changed or
Yeah.
the sign needs to be bigger. That's
But
my
we
two-
did
that's my two cents.
determine recently, right? Didn't you determine recently that it was
It's
Parks and
definitely-
Rec that is
Parks and Recs.
in charge of it as opposed to
Right.
Public Works or anybody
Yeah,
else,
yeah.
so. Okay, so we can, do we wanna get back to Elaine that we're generally okay with the sign as proposed?
Yeah,
And would defer to Parks and Rec on placement, however we would concur that maybe facing the other direction would be better, but
yeah.
we'd
That's
defer. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
All right. So Rachel, would you do me a favor and try and draft a letter, kind of what I just said?
Okay, yeah.
And just, yeah, and you can just email it to me and I'll give you the okay to send it over.
Okay.
And it would, yeah, be to Elaine, and then we can CC Parks and Rec.
Bob, did you ever roller skate in it?
No. That roller skating stopped probably in the 20s at the very latest.
Right.
I
Then
remember
there was a fire and they rebuilt it, right? Or something. When was that?
Oh, that was back in 1855,
Oh,
the
yeah.
fire.
Okay.
And it was in 1885, 84, 85, it was rebuilt.
I remember going to junior theater there.
Oh, yeah, no, and the, yeah.
A little squirt, but I remember.
That's
Yeah, the
awesome.
junior theater
That's very
used that,
cool.
that
Yeah,
third
going
floor.
down
Yeah.
into the dark.
Was there there was a basement in it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was scary.
It was a huge building though,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, it's
I mean, it was
massive.
huge.
Well, that, and the beauty.
And you'd never think that it would fit on that little, what looks to be
Well-
this little lot,
Well,
right?
they've pushed it
Of
in
course.
from Pleasant Lake.
Of
so,
course.
Yeah, because the other building, you can see the houses are set back from it.
Yeah,
I think you could
No,
see
but
my house in that
the
picture.
fascinating thing is that
Oh,
basement
yes.
was originally used for storage of cranberries. That
Oh,
Chester,
sure.
yeah, Chester Snow had because he was a businessman. He
Yeah.
said the problem with the cranberry industry is that they all pick at the same time and the prices go down.
Mm-hmm.
So he built a storage area with ventilation,
Mm-hmm.
so that the Harwich people cranberry growers could sell it later at Christmas or later.
And make more money.
And make much more money.
That's
Wow.
fascinating.
That's awesome.
That is fascinating. I guess the only other thing is old business. Any updates? We have any update on CPC for us?
Yeah, it's, I've submitted the paperwork to
right.
administration, and it's been
Fabulous.
about 3 or 4 weeks, and I'm sure they'll get to it when
They'll
they
get to it.
can. So it's
That's
it's
great.
there and
Well, I saw
ready for
that
the RFP.
Brooks
That's great.
Academy is on the warrant for town meeting and
For
the
the-
combined list that
Yes.
they're suggesting.
You know, that's
Divide.
really, there's been a lot of scuttlebutt about that. That's not unusual to do that article that way. I'm kind of surprised that there was talk about it, because it's, you do a list and you talk about it, so. It's on the capital outlay article, yeah.
You mean
And
not
it's-
on this, as opposed to the CPC article?
There's also CPC as well. I think it's on
Okay.
I think it's on the capital. I think there was
Because
a.
they did vote this last thing to approve all the CPC warrants
Yeah, let me see.
Yeah,
Monday
there's
night.
like 17 things listed that they're squishing down into one thing.
Yeah, but
And
it's,
Brooks Academy is like number 15 on it.
it's a list of the draft capital articles to be inserted into the warrant. And these are the ones that are coming from free cash.
Mm.
And there's, 17 items, and my phone just died. It was number whatever.
Yeah.
It was number whatever on it, yeah.
Yeah, if you have Facebook, look up Sandy Hall's,
Yeah,
and it's on there.
is it? Okay.
Yes, so I think there was something on that as well as the CPC articles. And, CPC's we did our voting and waiting for town meeting. Anything else any other updates anybody wants?
What we're gonna do with the historic signs was.
I found another one.
Did you?
Yep. And I went up there and I came around. I was coming out of the Rotary down.
Oh, yeah,
What was it? 139, whatever it was.
yeah,
139.
139.
And it's way, way back there.
Yeah.
Just standing by itself.
Really?
So yeah.
So are we gonna round them up and redo them, or what was the plan?
So we're
Well,
probably.
eventually they just all disappear. So that's.
So I think it's really a matter that we need to reach out to administration and see what we have for funds and see what the potential is for having those get replaced,
Yeah, pick some
redone and
up.
Again,
replaced.
couldn't it come out of our administrative funds for the district?
I would think so.
Yeah,
I'm not sure why they wouldn't just come out of,
free cash?
I don't know why they wouldn't just come out of a public works budget.
Oh,
Their
that's
signs-
true.
Their signs around
Signs are
town, but,
signed, Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
so
I mean, it's like.
if it's the board's pleasure, I can make that communication with
Sure.
administration.
Yes,
Great.
thank you.
All right, so we'll do that. Anything else? Next meeting is
April 19th or something, right?
school vacation week, most likely.
My daughter is beyond that.
Okay, so,
Yeah, that works.
I would just, Rachel, just for grins and giggles, if we have any matters on for the next meeting, we should probably just do a quorum check
Yeah.
kind of the week before to make sure nobody's
Okay.
unexpectedly going away.
So tomorrow's the deadline for the April meeting, and right now there's no cases.
Oh, that could be even better.
But you can,
Nice.
because it's April vacation for you.
Yeah, but I still won't go anywhere. I'm available. No, I don't think I'm going anywhere. Yeah, I think we're staying with those.
So if there are no if there are no matters
By
for
tomorrow?
hearings by tomorrow, is the board okay with canceling the
Yes.
April meeting and
Yes.
continuing that till May?
Yes.
Fabulous.
Okay.
So that's the plan.
Excellent.
Cool.
Anything
Motion to
else?
adjourn?
So it's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hearing no
Excellent.
opposition, we are adjourned.
Listen, paper goes.
Rachel?